Hi, this is the first time that I've ever done this to an audience, but I feel that God's led me to do this. So I started having dreams ever since I was a little girl about war in America. So that was about 1971 and 72. I was like 4 years old. So anyway, I kept a lot of journals throughout the years, and um, I wasn't saved until about 3 years ago, but I've always known God. I just did a lot of bad things like alcohol and just a lot of trouble that I got into, not with the law or anything, but just um, with things that are sins. So anyway, this is December 9th, 2001. And I started out by saying that I took a nap because I felt really bad. And this is what I dreamed. I decided to go outside of my body and travel. Now, um, going outside of your body is something that is satanic from now what I understand. It's something that Satanists do and people that are possessed do, I guess, from the way I'm understanding it now. I don't have these dreams anymore since I've been saved, so thank God for that. But this is about how things went back then, and I believe that God was always with me and He was always showing me things, even though I wasn't saved. So anyway, I went to travel outside of my body, and I just stayed in Fort Worth, in the Fort Worth area where, DFW is my home. Anyway, I wished that I wanted to go to Dallas or somewhere else. So I left my body and I started traveling right above the power lines. I went over Highway 30 and to the other side of the highway. A voice said that Denton had been massacred or something like that. I flew down Highway 30. But 30 almost looked like a river. I couldn't figure it out at first, especially the boats there. I did figure out that it had flooded, although its docks were expensive boats, I guess, were docked out there. The city had been bombed, part of it anyway. I dropped down and I walked along the streets telling people, "God is coming, get ready." "Do you know God?" I would ask every individual. A black lady standing at the booth said she didn't. I don't know what booth that was, but that's what I had written down. Like I said, this is December 9th, 2001. I explained to her about my revelations about God coming. Then I went about collecting people, meaning that I was gathering people up. And as a group, we flew to this house, like 30 people, where a black girl was in a wedding dress. She offered me to take her headdress, and at first I was going to, but I told her to wear it. Mind you, I never dream about flying in groups, and I did. And as I did this, I began to feel weighed down. The house was like a wood setting where we went. Then it was time for me to go and get back to my body. I took a little girl with me. As we were leaving, my dogs, they grew taller than buildings, whatever significance that means. I know that there's the Nephilim and things like that, so maybe it's all part of that, I don't know. And they were threatening us, even though we didn't understand why or what they would do to us. So I grabbed Tiffany's hand. Now, Tiffany is this little girl that I was dreaming about. I dreamt about her name. And we flew to where my body was. I escorted her through the window, and then I went to the window, and it was a small window. And Pete, which is my ex-husband, I was married to him at the time, he was sleeping in the basement. And I went to get inside my body, and then I noticed Pete coming through the window, bare-chested. He went inside his body and then woke up. My spirit got inside my body, but I stayed asleep. Tiffany stood at the door like a doorway to a small bathroom. She had her hair cut shoulder length, thick brownish red hair with bangs and a round, beautiful face and skin and blue eyes. I asked her if she could be my daughter. Will you ask Jesus? I asked. Who's Jesus? She said innocently. Pete was awake, standing over me. He asked how she looked, and I described him to her. She's beautiful, I added. I want you to be my little girl, I said, and then I woke up. Now, I remember the feelings I had about this little girl all the way back then. I felt like whenever she said, who's Jesus? I felt like that was a demonic attack. But as far as the bombs going off and all that, that's what I wanted to get to. I recorded that dream in my diary, and it's something that I've been dreaming about bombs in America ever since I was 4. So, here's a dream from 4/22/2002. It was 4 a.m. The last 3 places I have lived, I occasionally dream of digging under the dirt and finding small treasures I left behind from previous renters. I dreamt I dug in the living room and found a big block of ice. And I found an envelope from 1991. And I found all these different things, some spices and stuff. Let's see. I am trying to find why I saved this. Okay, well, I will get back to that one in a few. I was dreaming that I was at home and there was a small plane flying over my house. It was shining its lights inside of our living room, and they were looking for someone. I was hoping it wasn't me. Now, I've had these kind of dreams for 25 years, and little did I know about drones or anything back then. I could tell you all kinds of dreams I've had about planes coming to my window in the middle of the night, and they would flash their lights in on me, and then they would come and arrest me. Well, this happened 2002 as well. So it was that the planes had followed me, and they were shining their lights looking for someone. I was really starting to think it was me that they were looking for. I went into a bar restaurant. The planes came again. This time they called for me. They arrested me. They had my dog Moon and they let her out of the car, and she started screaming at Moon, I believe, and she was blind. And let's see. They let her out in the middle of a dangerous place in the city. They told me then, you're being arrested for possession of intent to sell. And the other one said it'll be 25 years. I woke up from my nightmare disoriented and confused. I knew I wasn't guilty and I had done nothing wrong. And so far, that's 2 of those dreams. There is one that I wanted to share with you, but I'll have to go back to that at another time. But as I said, I never knew anything about drones. I think the first time I heard about them was like in 2011. So I was having dreams all the time, and now we know as Christians, we know that the government thinks that Christians are terrorists when the terrorists are really just poor, disturbed Muslims that are just need jobs, So anyway, last night I dreamt Then I was in a bedroom at a farmhouse, and I was sitting at the edge of the bed with my ex-husband. Now here's the part that I wanted to talk about. I became in a trance, and my mother and my ex-husband, they were both there. Of course, we were married at the time, and I stayed in a trance talking to beings. Now this would have been January 19th, 2003 at 12 a.m. or so. It was like they were on a television screen that really wasn't there anyway. The spirit guide that sticks out in my mind most was a buffed out, classy black man. He showed me pictures to help me understand my surroundings. I talked to him and asked him questions. He showed me people I loved, and I asked to see my son. He showed him as an alien. I said, "Oh no, that's not right. Justin's not an alien." Then he showed me a face of myself, and I asked him about the war. And he said, "You'll win. You may not win football, but you'll win the war." I can't even see that happening. I don't even know what war that was about, or if it just meant my own life or what. He said, he laughed in a strange laugh. And here I was thinking, here this black man watched the world so much that he even thought of football, supposedly a pleasure among Americans. And I asked him if I needed to worry about the draft. He said not to worry. I seemed to ask a lot of important questions, and my whole impression was that this black man and this other man and this woman were not just spirit guides, they were angels. They watched over the world, and right then they were watching it with me, trying to help me understand my most painful and baffling questions. And one of the questions my mom asked was when Justin was coming home. Anyway, it said that he would come home about when he was like 31 or so, which he's not yet. And that's kind of my own personal thing, but I did want to talk about the war and the fact that I was dreaming about angels. Reading it, I'm wondering if that was another attack by a fallen angel, because the way that I had called them spirit guides, and it just, even though at the time I felt like it was God's angels, I really questioned that. I know that I was demonically attacked many, many times in my dreams. And I was also given a lot of dreams about heaven and about God's angels. So there's a lot of things that I can talk to you about, but I will save those for another videos. And thank you for watching, and I hope that I helped your day out somewhat to let you know that yes, we are in a World War III. A lot of things have been happening, and this is all biblical. And I run into a lot of people that are 25 years old saying that God doesn't exist, and I say, well, really? Because things are coming true that are biblical, that are happening right now, and you're only 25 years old. So obviously, if this is written over 2,000 years ago, I think God knows, So anyway, deep down inside, everybody knows that there's a God, and even the Satanists know that there's a God, and you can be a slave to Satan, just like you can be a soldier for God. You choose. Soldier for God or slave to Satan. Anyway, have a great day, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Lisa, out.